The nation's top national security leaders are gathering at the Ronald Reagan Library to discuss challenges here at home and abroad. China's growing aggression and Russia's war in Ukraine, just some of the issues on the agenda. Florida Congressman Michael Waltz is standing by with more on China's influence on the U.S. But first to Jennifer Griffin. She's live in Simi Valley, California. Jennifer.
Hi, Jackie. Well, it's raining here at the Reagan Library, but it's not dampening spirits. This is the 10th annual Reagan National Defense Forum, and we've been out here almost every year since it started. It comes with the backdrop of war raging in Ukraine, the threat of nuclear weapons being used for the first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and also the NATO alliance is being tested like never before. So far, the alliance is holding up well. It's more united than expected, which has surprised Vladimir Putin, who can't win on the battlefield, so he's now using energy as a weapon of war. The world has never been less stable than it is today. The forum here at the Reagan Library includes top Pentagon brass, congressional leaders on the armed services committees, and industry defense contractors who make the weapons that are being tested and used in Ukraine. They'll meet here in Simi Valley as Congress votes on a new defense budget worth $847 billion, which is $45 billion more than the Biden administration asked for. And as the Pentagon releases its annual report to Congress on China's military power, I'll be hosting a panel discussion here at the forum tomorrow on the way ahead in Ukraine. I'll be joined by the new head of the U.S. Space Force, General Chance Saltzman, in his first public remarks since taking over the Space Force. I'll also have on my panel the Army Secretary Christine Wormuth, who's overseeing a massive buildup of U.S. troops and resources in Europe to train Ukraine's military. We'll hear from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the head of the Air Force, and General Nakasone, who's the head of U.S. Cyber Command. The debate here is centered around the belief espoused by Ronald Reagan as he countered the Soviet Union during the Cold War that peace comes through strength.
The United States does not start fights. We will never be an aggressor. We maintain our strength in order to deter and defend against aggression, to preserve freedom and peace.
It's notable that a new Reagan Defense survey shows that a majority of Americans still want to send weapons to Ukraine, recognizing that authoritarian leaders like President Xi in China are watching what happens in Ukraine very closely. Jackie?
All right, Jennifer, I'll look forward to more of your reporting from this. You always have great interviews at this event. Thanks.
All right, hopefully the rain will stop as well. Let's bring in Florida Republican Congressman Michael Waltz. He is a member of the House Armed Services Committee, a former Green Beret commander. So let's talk about TikTok carrying ads leading up to the election from the propaganda arm of the Chinese government. I mean, I've always thought that TikTok was the perfect Trojan horse. Yeah. Get kids across America hooked, they get their parents involved, and then suck all the data that you possibly can and send it back to China. And now we're finding out that TikTok let them air these ads that were designed to influence the U.S. election. They were primarily about Republican candidates.
Yeah, and here's the debate I keep having with members of my family is I'm telling them, get off, and other folks in my network. It is a vacuum cleaner of every password, your financial information, anything on Signal or WhatsApp or any private communication you're having. They're collecting it by the millions. And, ByteDance, which owns TikTok, is saying, no, the servers are kept in the United States. But in the fine print, they still have a backdoor right out to Beijing. And why does that matter? If we go to some type of conflict and they can target our pilots, our railroad engineers, our port operators, our scientists, not to mention what we're also seeing now on the political space. They hit Rubio, they hit Ted Cruz, they hit Abbott, and the entity running these political ads is a registered foreign agent of the Chinese Communist Party. So we spent years as a country wrestling, hand-wringing, breathlessly reporting on Russian interference, yet we have the perfect platform to touch millions of Americans with their data targeted by the Chinese Communist Party, which the Biden administration lists as our greatest adversary.
Most downloaded app of last year.
Yeah. One of the biggest problems is that a user on TikTok won't necessarily know that these propaganda videos are coming from a state government. TikTok has given a statement that says they're going to fix that next year. They say we plan to introduce our state-controlled media policy and corresponding labels globally next year as part of our continued focus on media literacy. As we've previously confirmed, the global rollout will include China state media. But, my question to you also is the Biden administration has used TikTok to get their message out.
Yeah.
They talk to influencers, and, are they sending the wrong message that this is a safe platform?
Well, look, you have yes, they are, because you just had Chris Wray, the FBI director, listing why it's a national security threat in testimony for all the reasons that we just talked about. The Indian government has completely banned it. Other governments like Japan and Indonesia are considering banning it. I'm going to introduce a rule for this next Congress that members of Congress cannot use it on their official phones, because clearly, on the one hand, you have the Biden administration saying it's a national security threat. You have the military not allowing military members to use it, but yet you have Democrat members of Congress and officials throughout the administration using it left, right, and center. It's got to stop. We need to completely ban it, but at least we have to get our key officials and members of Congress off of it.
You mentioned Christopher Wray. Let's go to call for number 3 here. Here's what he said in testimony about TikTok. Listen here.
We do have national security concerns, at least from the FBI's end, about TikTok. They include the possibility that the Chinese government could use it to control data collection on millions of users, or control the recommendation algorithm, which could be used for influence operations if they so chose, or to control software on millions of devices.
All right, so that's the threat. And you find out that they're at least already doing part of this. President Trump, if you remember, wanted to ban TikTok.
That's right.
And everybody said, what a mean guy, what a crazy person. You want to ban TikTok? Listen to what Senator Mark Warner of the Intelligence Committee, Democrat from Virginia, said last month about that. Quote, as painful as it is for me to say, Donald Trump was right, and we could have taken action then. It'd have been a heck of a lot easier to try to take action in November of 2022. The sooner we bite the bullet, the better.
Well, that's a rare statement. He was right on.
Pigs fly. Right?
Yeah, that's right. He was right on that, right on the border, right on Middle East peace. Time is.
So what do we do about TikTok now?
Well, look, the first things first is get it off of our key decision makers and get it off of these phones. I certainly don't have it on any of mine or any of those. I think we ban it across the federal government. I'm going to work to ban it for congressional members. But then I think we follow India, the nation's largest democracy, and get it out of our lives, our homes, and our kids. It's absolutely in violation of our privacy laws. It's in violation of what they've promised that they're doing. And if they are vacuuming up all of your information, and it's going to our greatest adversary, this is a place where we have to step in and take action.
You think they'll get bipartisan support?
I think we're going to make it happen. I would like to think that we would. I think on the national security committees, like Mark Warner, who's on Intel and Armed Services and others, they see the reporting, they see the intelligence. Outside of that, I think it's going to be tough, but we're going to make it happen.
This is like Huawei, except Huawei wanted to do it through hardware. TikTok's doing it through software.
That's right.